Hey there guys, we now have the unit data for Ethne and Fundamental Force, the anniversary units for 8th anniversary. And in this video, I'll be going through and giving you my initial impressions after seeing their entire kit. Also, real quick at the start of the video, I'll just mention tomorrow is going to be Clash of Wills, but the maintenance is scheduled to run pretty long, and as I mentioned in my news video, I do have plans later in the day tomorrow, so depending how late maintenance goes, I might not live stream till potentially very late in the evening. Just really depends on what happens tomorrow. Anyway, about the units. So real quick, I'll just say both units are very, very strong, but in a surprising twist, it seems like Fundamental Force ended up being a significantly stronger unit than Ethne. I don't entirely understand why Ethne is way weaker than Fundamental Force. But that being said, Ethne is still very, very strong. It's like, okay, now she's the second strongest unit in the game. Fundamental Force is now the strongest unit in the game by a pretty massive margin. And I think Ethne might be bugged. I'll show you more about that in a moment. Maybe they fix her during maintenance. I'm recording this very early into our 12-hour maintenance. Anyway, about the unit. So we know she's a mage, etc. We know her tags already from the live stream. I'm glad to see so many tags. I would like to see some other special categories, but I'm not going to harp on that too much. Overall, it's fine. As far as stats, as expected, she's got 740, which is 837 after pots. And as far as passives go, really nice resistances across the board, some immunities, specifically not immune to some of the more debilitating ones, which is a little strange. Normally on global units, they're immune to all the really bad stuff and not immune to like fluff, like disease or poison. This time, no, we're still very vulnerable to the worst one, which is confusion, and then paralyze and sleep. So just, make sure to fix that with gear, etc. You're always going to use her TMR sword, so who cares about that? She can't use helmets, unfortunate. So the Clash of Wills helm is going to eat up a materia slot, kind of sucks. We know her TMR, STMR, etc. Now, as far as her kit goes, I mean, it's a good kit, but it's mostly just damage dealing stuff. She does have a few buffing skills, which are really nice to see, but for the most part, it's selfish buffing, but a whole lot of it, and Ethne is still really good. And don't forget, we're going to Fundamental Force in a moment, and she's even better. But the usual 500 LB damage for Neo Plus units. At EX2, she'll get a 150 Amplify in the whole game. I'll give you a preview. She also has a 180 Amplify inside of morale content to all her elements: fire, lightning, water, wind, and dark. It also does some damage and fills morale gauge. Permanent quad cast, which is awesome. She's got all these skills, which do fill a bunch of morale. I will say, just on the side, Ethne and Fundamental Force have lots of ways to fill morale every single turn, which is kind of nice. I'm not really going to go over it too much, but they have lots of morale fill in their kit, which is really nice, but also a little concerning about the upcoming clash. Like, maybe you're going to need really high morale generation. I don't know. We'll see that tomorrow. Anyway, she's got the element swaps for all 5 of her elements, which are nice. She's got the 40% amplify field to all of her elements, which is nice. An imperil for the enemy. Not an imperil field, just a regular imperil. She's also got these skills, which are her chain skills: bolting, absolute, and I thought she had extreme nova as well. They do miscellaneous stuff. Not really going to worry about that too much. You're not going to use those for damage. Her LB is where it's at, but there you go. Just some miscellaneous stuff. She can break by 85 magic and attack, and then 87 spirit and defense on demand. It's very nice. An extreme nova skill on demand does 4,500 in clash, but again, that's going to be a whole lot less than her LB. She does have this buff, which is really nice. So 400 stats for the party and 300 LB for the party, full uptime. Really, really nice to see. She does have a modifier buff for her LB. I've said before, I don't like those, but whatever. I'm not going to go over all that again. She does have it, so there you go. Some personal killers to Fairy and Demon at 200, and then 160 AoE for the party. She boosts up Rick's LB. This is for Rick, RG Assault, by 200, which is kind of neat. A secondary LB buff, and then she has the AoE Dark Absorb, Dark Imbue for the whole enemy side as well. It's kind of nice to have every now and then. We're going to skip real quick to her active skills. Hold on a sec. I will be right back. Alright guys, sorry about that. Anyway, where were we? We're going to her active skills, which are, or her active spells I should say, which are basically just Dark Gut, Darkra. She does have modifier buffs for these in her kit. We can look right here. 300, but I mean 300, times 4. So like 372 times 4 is like, what, 1400? Yeah, you're never going to do that for damage, but she does have it. AoE Imbue for the party for darkness. We know her leader skill from the live stream. And then her SLB is the 50% Sword and Peril, 90% Spirit Break, and 400 magic for self, and then some damage. We'll get to her damage calculations in a minute. It is very high, though. But, yeah. Let's real quick go to her Clash of Wills only skill. She does have the, what are they called again? Mania and Vertex stuff for, like, Clash Another, which we're not getting, so these are basically just ignore they even exist. Let's see here. But in Clash of Wills, she also can do in 180 Amplify for all of her elements. And don't forget, she can still do the 150 as well. So, like, you can do this for a second burst. You can do this for your main burst, and then you can go to the 150 for the regular burst. And then she has 250 Killer to all of the races of the Clash of Wills. For self only, but if you're using Zahn, this can be spread, and of course it is for magic as well. So there you go. If Richt is in the party, then she will cast this every single turn, which cures her in perils, and then also fills the morale gauge, which is kind of nice. If Richt is in the party, a free 1,000 morale per turn, but only if Richt is in the party as well. And then she auto-casts Dark Perfusion every single turn. We knew this from the live stream, but it's magic focus. So every single turn, she will magic focus herself. And then her normal attack is Perfect Dispel, which is kind of neat. And then her passives. So you get them all at EX2 because it is a premium unit. Omni Killer, she has Chain Cap up, both of them. If you get EX2 or better, she has a Chain Cap by default. Not much special here. I mean, immune to charm, chain speed up, the usual stuff, typical. But this is why I mentioned earlier, I think she's maybe bugged. As you'll notice, her EX2 passive is static 1000 MP. I think that's supposed to be magic, and they maybe put in the wrong value there, because her only static stat is 500 magic down here. That's her only static magic. Her magic is very, very low for a premium Neo Plus unit, and I don't understand why it's so low. I'm thinking she was supposed to have an extra 1,000 magic right here, and someone put in MP instead of magic by accident. I don't know, maybe it's intended. But yeah, she does way less damage than Fundamental Force because her magic is so low. Let's look at some DPS calculations. I mean, she's still the second highest unit in the game, don't get me wrong. She's the second highest damage dealer in the entire game by a large amount. It's just that, as you can see here, a little preview of Fundamental Force. Fundamental Force does like 20% more damage than her, and Fundamental Force is not premium. That's why I'm like, why is Ethne so low? And if I had to guess, it's because she's missing 1,000 magic. And even with 1,000 magic, she still wouldn't beat Fundamental Force, but at least the gap would be a lot closer. Anyway, in Clash of Wills, as you can see, she kind of blows away everyone. In the Dark Visions, we don't get anymore. But if we got Dark Visions, she blows away everyone as well, including Faye. Not that much. But again, Fundamental Force does way more damage, even in Dark Visions. So it just really feels like Ethne is potentially bugged with missing 1,000 magic she was supposed to have. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Anyway, so overall thoughts on Ethne. So she's certainly a good unit. not that much utility in her kit. I mean, she does have the AoE stat buff and LB buff, which is, good and all, but like a lot of units have that these days. It's good to have. Some kill. I mean, I guess she has some utility. Some killers, the AoE absorb, etc., the 90 break. I mean, okay, yeah, sure. She's got a lot of utility. It's just I don't know. I went in with the expectation that she would be doing more damage than Fundamental Force, and it is not even close. Like, it's an entire billion behind Fundamental Force. That's insane to be that far behind when she's premium and Fundamental is not. But she's still a really good unit. I still want her. I'm definitely going to pull for her. But there you go. There you go. So let's pop over to Fundamental Force and look at this unit, the one that is not premium and is, in my opinion, now by far the strongest unit in the game. Not only is her damage insane, but her kit is really good too. So this is the one that I would say, if you're choosing who do I pull for, I can only afford one, definitely go Fundamental Force. It's a stronger unit, a better kit, and more damage. Like, really? Yeah, the unit's crazy. As far as tags go, we knew from the live stream, again, not a ton of tags, but they're good. It's just like, the really good tags are like Rebellion, Royal Arms, stuff like that. Gathering's a good one as well, but whatever. There you go. Again, the typical stats for Neo Pluses, a lot of resistances, and this time, like you see, just like across the board, like all these things add up. Fundamental Force is just better in every possible way. So the immunities, again, the important ones are immune, and the who cares ones are not. So like poison and silence for a physical unit, and disease. Like it's just they really made this unit so much better than Ethne, which is fine. I plan to pull for both of them. Whatever. So as far as the kit goes, a lot of the same stuff as Ethne. The 500 LB damage, the 150 amp out of Clash. She also has a 180 amp inside of Clash. Triple cast. I really like to see this. Remove all buffs from enemies, so perfect to spell on demand. Now I know Ethne has it on her normal attack, but that requires you to either waste your entire turn doing Ethne's normal attack or giving her counter gear and hoping she counters. Now, I will say that normally on mages, you don't want them countering because it messes up their focus. But because Ethne autocast her focus at the start of her turn, after you countered, it wouldn't interrupt her focus, but it's still awkward to have to rely on a counter, whereas Fundamental Force can do it on demand. Just, cast this Bolting Strike skill, remove all buffs. That's awesome. Self-evade, who cares really? Fundamental Force also has a 40% field for all 5 of her elements: fire, ice, lightning, wind, and light, which is awesome. She's got the elemental swap stuff going on. And then she's got breaks as well. So attack and defense 85. And then I thought she had magic too. She can't break magic and spirit. She can on her LB, but I guess not on demand, huh? I thought she could. Looks like no, she can't on demand. She can only do it on her LB. Yeah, she does break on her LB, but I guess she doesn't break magic and spirit on demand. But there you go. Some imperils there. Again, the same kind of thing. Let's see. Killer to self to human and beast, and then AoE smaller amount for the party. Dragon as well. And we knew about this as well. So mitigation for the party, a barrier, resistances. And then she has a smaller version of Ethne's stat buff. So 300 attack buff to all enemies, but not all stats. And then LB damage 300 to all party members. Mod buff for herself, Psy. A secondary LB damage buff. And then she actually has 3 different amplifies for her elements. So she's got the 150, the 100 right here, and then the 180 in Clash, which is kind of nice. And then 99% physical mitigation to herself for 1 turn only. I'm going to assume that might come into play in Clash of Wills, but I don't know. We're going to skip down to her spells real quick. AoE imbue to all 5 of the elements. Remember, Ethne can only AoE imbue to 1 element, even though she's a 5-element unit. So again, like Fundamental Force is just small little nitpicks better in every single way than Ethne. The kit's better. She's got more utility, better ailment immunities, more damage, etc. Oh yeah, and as far as gear goes, we didn't go over gear. As far as gear goes, she can use helms. She can use all the armor, all the gear. Just a better unit in every possible way. Yeah, just a great unit. Great unit. Let's go back to where we were. Her leader skill we knew about. Her LB is 50% Fist and Peril, 85 attack and magic break, 87 defense and spirit break, 400% stat buff for the party, AoE, 5 turns, so it's always up once you get it up at one time. So there you go, and then a lot of damage. Let's go to the Clash of Wills only stuff. Yet again, she's got Vertex skills we don't care about. We're not seeing Clash of Wills another ever again. She's got this skill that goes for the old Fundamental Force units. Elena, Louise, Rick, Wilk, and Yoshikiri. So it's kind of nice. It buffs up, Rick. The rest of them are kind of outdated and don't matter. But there you go. We're not going to ever see that. Here we go. So 180 Amplify in Clash of Wills for herself only. All the killers for Clash at 200%. But hers is AoE. So with her, you don't need Zon on the party. So that's kind of nice. There you go. And then her passives, nothing special. So she has 2,000 attack power in passive. So 500 here, 500 here, and 1,000 here. Whereas Ethne only has 500. Because Ethne has 500 here for magic. And then, this is MP, probably a glitch. So because of that, Fundamental Force has 2,000 static attack. As opposed to Ethne only having 500. And both of them have 1,000 extra on their weapon. Keep that in mind. Anyway, yeah, so she's a true dual wield unit, 8 times cap, which is always awesome. It's, really good, etc. And then her damage is ridiculous. Ridiculous in Clash of Wills, and then even more ridiculous in Dark Visions. Now, even though we're probably never seeing a Dark Visions again, keep in mind we are going to be getting series boss battle updates. And you're going to want good damage dealers for those. So Fundamental Force will be an amazing damage dealer for those serious boss battles that we're getting coming up very soon. So I'm hoping my friends pull for Fundamental Forces, and I can use a friend Fundamental Force while we both go and crush some serious boss battles. Because Ethne is not quite as good. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Anyway, yeah. That's the units. So both the units are very, very good. I do feel that Fundamental Force is by far the better of the two, but that's not to say Ethne is bad. Ethne is just, the second best unit in the game as opposed to the first best. Now, should you, use everything you have in your savings for these units? I plan to. That's me personally. Do I think you should spend cash and try to go for these units? Based on the state of the game, that would be very risky, and I probably wouldn't personally, but of course it's always your decision. Do what you want. But if you happen to have a lot of savings ready to go for these units, it's probably worth it. I'm going to do it, but the rest of you definitely make up your own decision. And we'll see. As far as Clash of Wills go, we will have to see if they release the maintenance, early. If they end maintenance early, I should have time to live stream Clash of Wills and have some fun with it. If maintenance is exactly on time or late, I will be very limited on time and probably will not live stream until later in the day. Anyway, see you tomorrow for some polls. Later.